23. I will now call on Will Short, Regional Clerk, to conduct the roll call.
Thank you, Chair Redmond.
Present.
Redmond. Councillor Craig. Present. Councillor Deutschman. Councillor Erb. Present. Councillor Foxton.
Present.
Councillor Harris. Councillor Hunig.
Present.
Councillor James.
Present.
Councillor Liggett. I see Councillor Liggett. Councillor McCabe. Present. Councillor Nowak. Councillor Solonen.
Present.
Councillor Shantz.
Present.
Councillor Verbanovic.
Here.
Councillor Williams.
Present.
Councillor Wolf.
Present.
Thank you, Chair.
I'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Chinootan people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. I would now entertain a motion to reconvene in open session. Moved by Councillor Salonen, seconded by Councillor Wolf. Please use your e-scribe to vote.
It's coming.
I think e-scribe was still on dinner break.
Yes.
Colleagues, that is carried. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none, we have no presentations, no petitions, no delegations. We do have the minutes of the previous meetings. I now need a motion.
Chair. My apologies. I just have to declare conflict of interest from closed. I had a conflict with respect to a matter dealing with liabilities, threats, lawsuits with respect to the region, as my firm has claims that include the region.
Duly noted, Councillor Deutschman, thank you. I now would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meetings listed 7.1 through 7.14. If I could have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor James, seconded by Councillor Foxton. Please use your e-scribe. Colleagues, that is carried. Thank you. Communications information package December 6th was distributed to councillors electronically. Are there any questions? Okay, that is for your information. Item 9.2 is 2024 SWIFT board member representation, and we've received information under item 9.2 for information. I would like to call on a motion to reappoint Councillor Foxton to the SWIFT board of directors. If I could have a mover, moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by Councillor Hunig. Please use your e-scribe buttons. And this motion is that the Regional Municipality of Waterloo reappoint Councillor Sue Foxton for the Southwestern Integrated Fiber Technology Board of Directors. And that's for anybody that always wondered what the SWIFT acronym stood for. Thank you, colleagues. That is carried. And Sue, thank you very much for continuing to represent us in such great style. There are really interesting things happening with the investment in fiber technology. I would now entertain a motion to go into committee of the whole to consider reports. If I could have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Shantz, seconded by Councillor Nowak. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Colleagues, thank you. That is carried. The next agenda item is finance reports, and we'll now start a vote to receive finance reports for information and approve the listed. It's 11.1.1 to 11.1.3. And I could read them all, but it's pages and pages. So please. A mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Wolf, seconded by Councillor Craig. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Colleagues, that is carried. The next agenda item is a committee report, and time has sort of overtaken what is before you. There are actually points 1, 2, and 3. One was the 2023 Housing Stability System Fee for Service, and the second one was the plan to end chronic homelessness. We have dealt with those through the budget process, so I would ask for a mover and a seconder for the third bullet, which is the region's commitment to advancing truth and reconciliation, and that we direct staff to include in the 2024 operating budget a provision of $1 million to establish an annual community capacity building fund with funding from the property tax levy, and that staff report back in Q1 2024 with proposed terms of reference to community capacity building fund incorporating the learnings from the upstream fund evaluation and a timeline, application, and award. If I could have a mover, moved by Councillor James, seconded by Councillor Erb. Please use your e-scribe to vote. So we're just voting on recommendation number 3.
Can I just ask a question that maybe I've missed something?
Sorry, Councillor Shantz.
Yeah. Why wasn't this in the budget process?
Sorry, Councillor Shantz. Ask your question again.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why this wasn't part of the budget process.
So those are recommendations that the budget committee approved last month. So they're listed on the agenda because they were approved, but during the budget process today, a different motion was passed that sort of trumps those, I guess, at this point.
So they're included in the budget already.
Yeah, so Chair Redmond's motion with respect to bringing a report back in January on it is the one that deals with both of those.
Does that satisfy your question, Councillor Shantz? Councillor Vanovic.
Yeah, just to be clear, though, that the $1 million that we're talking about has been approved in today's budget. We're not looking at adding another. I think that's the question that Councillor Shantz was trying to get at. We're not adding another $1 million.
Craig?
That's correct. You're not adding another $1 million. It's in the budget.
Good. Thank you.
Sometimes you miss those yes or no questions. Thanks for the clarification. Councillor Hunick? Oh.
Sorry, my e-scribe appears to be failing, but I'm in favor.
So we're now at Planning and Works Committee Summary, December the 5th, 2023.
But
Oh, we didn't vote.
no, I'm okay.
So we have a mover and a seconder. We had a couple questions, and now I'm going to call the vote. Councillor Hunick, are you clear with what we're voting on? Okay. Colleagues, that is carried. The next agenda item is Planning and Works Committee Summary, December 5th, 2023. I need a mover and a seconder, and there's several items, 1 through 3. Moved by Councillor McCabe, seconded by Councillor Shantz. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Colleagues, that is carried. Next is the closed summary, December 5th, 2023. Thought I'd give a mover and a seconder for the items. Moved by Councillor Ravanovich, seconded by Councillor Erb. Please use your buttons to vote. That is carried, colleagues. The next agenda item is Administration and Finance Committee Summary, December 5th, 2023. If I could have a mover and a seconder to adopt the summary. Moved by Councillor Hunick, seconded by Councillor Williams. Please use your buttons. That is carried, colleagues. The next agenda item is Strategic Planning and Budget Committee Summary. And I need a mover and a seconder to ratify this. Moved by Councillor Wolf, seconded by Councillor McCabe. Please use your e-scribe buttons to vote. Colleagues, that is carried. The next agenda item is a closed council summary from today's date, December 13th, 2023. Clerks will put it up. So colleagues, I'm going to read it and then ask for a mover and a seconder. This is from today's closed meeting, that Matthew Getke is appointed to be Acting Chief Administrative Officer for the Regional Municipality of Waterloo during the absence of the Chief Administrative Officer, and as such shall have the powers and duties set out in Bylaw 20-027, being a bylaw to provide the appointment of a Chief Administrative Officer while serving in an acting capacity. If I could have a mover and a seconder, moved by Councillor Foxton, seconded by Councillor James. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Thank you, colleagues. That is carried unanimously, and thank you, Matthew, for stepping in. The next agenda item is Board of Health Respiratory Season Update, and I would welcome Dr. Shuli Wong, Commissioner of Public Health and Paramedic Services, Medical Officer of Health, to provide a respiratory seasonal update.
Thank you, Chair Redmond, and good evening, Council. COVID-19 continues to circulate in our community, with influenza and RSV now also rising. Our COVID-19 wastewater signal at Kitchener and Cambridge remains elevated, with fluctuation from week to week. Local respiratory virus activity in Waterloo region continues to be consistent with provincial trends. As we prepare for the holiday season, we can increase the protection for ourselves and our loved ones by getting vaccinated for influenza, COVID-19, and if eligible, RSV. It's not too late to get these vaccines. Vaccines continue to be available through pharmacies, primary care providers, and public health clinics for children less than 5. Other things that you can do to reduce your risk and the risk of those around you are to wear a well-fitting mask in crowded indoor settings, especially for anyone at higher risk of severe infection, or when in healthcare settings or facilities with mask policies. 2, stay home when you are sick and wear a mask for 10 days following the start of your symptoms. And 3, if you are at high risk, speak with your healthcare provider about antiviral treatment options in case you get sick. As you are aware, we have begun work in preparation of enforcing the Immunization of School Pupils Act next spring. Letters advising parents that their child is not up to date or their records are not up to date started being sent out at the beginning of November and will continue until mid-January. In order to respond to parents in a timely manner, we have surged some of our staff to support the updating of records and providing immunizations. Students whose records are not up to date by early 2024 will receive notice of school suspension letters beginning in February for the elementary grades and April for the secondary grades. Those who receive a notice will have 4 additional weeks to get their child's vaccine records up to date, or the child will face a school suspension. To avoid suspension, we encourage parents to 1, check their child's vaccine records, 2, report all required vaccines to Region of Waterloo Public Health, and 3, see a healthcare provider or book into a public health clinic for any vaccines that the child has missed. Vaccine appointments are available at both our clinics on Christopher Drive in Cambridge and Regina Street South in Waterloo. Thank you. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. I see no questions. Any questions or comments from council? Councillor Erb.
Actually, I do have a question. And so by asking this question, I'm admitting that I don't have my RSV vaccination. Am I correct that you cannot walk into a pharmacy and get one of those? You have to have a prescription from your doctor? And, okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yes, because it's not publicly funded, but you can privately purchase it with a prescription from your family doctor or another primary care provider.
I see.
Just a point of thing. Our insurance, Sun Life, covers it. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any further questions, Councillor Erb?
No, it's okay.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. Councillor Foxton?
I was just going to say we're covered. My husband and I got ours last week, so. Go get it, folks. It's $310 if you're not covered.
Good insurance.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. I think that's all the questions and comments we have right now. I'll now consider a motion for the Committee of the Whole to rise and Council to resume. If I could have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Craig, seconded by Councillor Williams. Please use your e-scribe that the Committee of the Whole rise and Council resume. Thank you. So that is carried, colleagues. Next is a motion to adopt the proceedings of the Committee of the Whole. If I could have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Hunick, seconded by Councillor Shantz. Please use your e-scribe to vote that Council adopt the proceedings of the Committee of the Whole. Colleagues, that is carried. We have no motions. We have no notices of motions. Is there any unfinished business? Seeing none, colleagues, under other business, before we begin, I want to recognize the service of two regional staff who have been actively involved in today's meeting. First, Helen Shamiri Russell, our Director of Cultural Services, who is moving on to an amazing opportunity in cultural services field with a provincial impact. Helen has had a big impact on our region and organization, leading the transformation of the Waterloo Regional Museums, the Waterloo Regional Library, and our supports to cultural industries. When she joined us, she immediately took over the installation of the largest public art program in the region's history. She's helped us expand our understanding of history of Waterloo Region with projects like Debaujuan and Crowshield Lodge at the museum. Helen has helped bring more systematic and policy-driven approaches to cultural industries funding. So Helen, we wish you well in your next chapter, and you leave big shoes to fill. Second is Terry Plummer, our legislative support assistant in the regional clerk's office. Terry has been with the region of Waterloo for over 15 years. Terry has been an incredibly valuable member of our team and is responsible for countless agendas, correspondence letters, and distribution of payments for millions of dollars for the Arts Fund grants. She's done all this while ensuring a constant focus on service excellence to council, staff, and the public. Today happens to be Terry's last day and also her birthday. So Terry, we wish you happy birthday. And to Terry, Helen, and other staff that I have missed, thank you for all your years of service and best wishes in the future. Terry, you've been a mainstay. Terry, you will be missed. Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, I would now entertain a motion to enact bylaws first, second, and third readings. And this is bylaws 23-060 to 23-063 and 23-024 is listed on the agenda, and I will not read them. If I could have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Nowak, seconded by Councillor Foxton. Please use your e-scribe to vote. Colleagues, that is carried. And before I entertain a motion to adjourn, I just want to reiterate the gratitude that I think we all owe Michael Harris, who was an amazing chair of finance and administration through this budget process, the staff that were outstanding leaders, the commissioners, all of their teams, the communications staff that make sure that our message gets out to the community and distributed internally through the organization. And also to my colleagues. I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. What a difference a year makes. This budget process was far different than last year's, and what we had was a result of a unanimously supported budget on behalf of the region of Waterloo. And that's no small feat given our balancing of priorities, our competing needs, and the fiscal realities that we all know not only are we dealing with at the region, but that our constituents are. So thank you very much for a job well done. And now I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All hands are up. Councillor Deutschman and Councillor Liggett, would you like to move and second the adjournment? Thank you very much. Please use your e-scribe. Colleagues, shockingly enough, that was carried.